Now, Job chapter 21, I hope you guys are enjoying these. Please like the videos if you are. Such a fun opportunity to come through the book of Job. Hopefully, this is helping you to understand not just Job, as we're in those chapters now, but all the scriptures in the Old Testament, as we've been going through each book, to help you understand and bring these stories out, to help you to apply these stories better and start wrapping your mind around. Not These aren't just weird stories from a foreign time. These are stories that have very real application to our life, and I hope you're enjoying them. Please like these videos if you are, because it helps us to get seen by more people. I would love to hear your comments. We'd love to have those conversations in the comments with you, and share them. Tell your friends about our channel and encourage them to come in, and make sure you're subscribing so you can share them as well. Now, in chapter 21, Job is going to respond back to Zophar and his friends about this, because again, his friends are coming at him from the standpoint of, it's justice. You are being punished. What you're getting is just dues for something. We don't know what, but it is justice from God. And Job's going, no, that's not right. That's not it. There's something else going on. And so he's going to concede a little bit that they're not completely wrong. And that's what he's going to do in this chapter. But he's going to try to explain and correct where they are wrong. So let's jump in. Verse 1, but Job answered and said, hear diligently my speech. Let this be your consolations. Suffer me that I may speak, and after that I have spoken, mock on. So he's like, look, listen to what I have to say, and take it or leave it. Whatever you guys want to do with it's fine. How you guys want to treat me, whatever. But let me get my message across to you first. Verse 4, as for me, is my complaint to man? And if it were so, why should not my spirit be troubled? Mark me and be astonished, and lay your hand upon your mouth, meaning stop talking. Listen. Don't talk. Understand what I'm trying to say. Don't try to argue with me. Verse 6, even when I remember, I am afraid, and trembling taketh hold on my flesh. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power? He's asking the question, do the wicked actually have a successful life? Can they be successful in wickedness? Verse 8, their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bull gendereth, and faileth not. Their cow calveth, and casteth not her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They take the timbrel and harp, and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. So he's asking this question is, do the wicked prosper? Yes, they sometimes do. Sometimes wickedness prospers. Sometimes people can be wicked. They enrich themselves at the expense of others. They become wealthy. They have a great life. They live a great life, even though it's built on wickedness and sin. They still have a pretty abundant life, basically. And then they say, because we love our riches, we love our wealth more than God, we don't want to know God's ways. He says, verse 15, what is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. So he's saying they kind of, they get so prideful and wrapped up in their own ways of thinking that they forget God. They're in the worldly way of doing things, not in the spiritual way of doing things. And they struggle with that, and they're like, my life is good. I'm happy. I'm blessed. I've got wealth and riches and a good life. I'm not having to toil and labor all my time. I've got plenty of food. I've got money to do things and to buy fine stuff and so forth. Sometimes wickedness does pay off. That's what Job is saying here. Yes, it does happen, but they give up their relationship with God to do it. That's where the problem comes in. He says here, let's see, verse 17, how oft is the candle of the wicked put out, and how oft cometh their destruction upon them? God distributeth sorrows in his anger. They are as stubble before the wind, and as chaff that the storm carrieth away. God layeth up his iniquity for his children. He rewardeth him, and he shall know it. His eyes shall see his destruction. He shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. So he's saying, yes, God still will punish them. God still will take care of them, even if it's not in this life. They will still have, justice will still be meted out, but it might not be in this life. So his friends are still thinking this life only, when Job's taking a more eternal perspective of everything. Let's see, verse 20, his eyes shall see his destruction, and he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what pleasure hath he in his house after him, when the number of his months is cut off in the midst? Shall any teach God knowledge? Seeing he judgeth those that are high. I think that's a very important one. Shall any teach God knowledge? Is it up to us to teach God? Do the wicked feel like they're so prideful and so smart that they think they can outsmart God? That they can teach God a thing or two? They found the loopholes in the plan of God and they can sneak through it to eat their cake and eat it too. Have their cake and eat it too, excuse me if I say that properly. That's that pride. Sometimes people get so wickedness and they get in their pride that they believe that they are above God. That's a problem. Verse 23, one dieth in his full strength, being wholly at ease and quiet. His breasts are full of milk, his bones are moistened with marrow. And another dieth in the bitterness of his soul, and never eateth with pleasure. They shall lie down alike in the dust, and the worms shall cover them. Really important point that he brings up in here. He says the righteous and the wicked both have challenged lives. Sometimes the wicked have great lives and the righteous have poor lives. It doesn't matter when it comes to death. They both die. Death treats them equal. Basically, they're both dead. They're both in the dust. The worms don't care whether you are righteous or wicked. They're going to consume both bodies, basically. He says in verse 27, behold, I know your thoughts and the devices which you wrongfully imagine against me. For ye say, where is the house of the prince? And where are the dwelling places of the wicked? Have ye not asked them that go by the way, and do ye not know their tokens? That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction? They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. Who shall declare his way to his face? And who shall repay him what he hath done? Yet shall he be brought to the grave, and shall remain in the tomb. The clods of the valley shall be sweet unto him, and every man shall draw after him, as there are innumerable before him. How then comfort ye me in vain, seeing your answers therefore remaineth falsehood? So he really caps this off with his friends and says, look guys, I get sometimes the wicked people prosper. It's not just suddenly, oh, just because bad things have happened to me, I must be wicked. Sometimes wicked people go through this life without having judgment called against them. But that doesn't mean they've escaped judgment. It means that God will still punish them when we think about it in the eternal perspective. They could have a good mortal life, and then the next life is going to be terrible for them because the judgment is still coming. God will, yes, you guys are right, God will always meet that justice and figure that out. It's not confined to just this life, though. The good and the bad, successful, the poor, all die. And they all go to God, and God will judge them out of their works and deal with them. That's what he's saying. And so he's trying to tell them, you guys are wrong. You're not completely wrong. You kind of have a little bit of right in what you're saying, but you're missing the point. You're missing that mark. Let me help you understand more of this. Let's take what you understand from here and widen that out to understand it better, basically. So that's what Job's trying to do here, basically. So let's jump over to the next chapter as this conversation with his friends continues.